Hey there gang, welcome back. My friend Ed contacted me the other day, said he had another guitar for me to look at and do a repair on, so I went over to his music store. When he took this out, the first thing I thought was that's got to be a relatively new guitar. And then when I got up close I realized no, it's actually not, it's pretty old. It's interesting, you know, I'm always looking for sort of oddball things to film for you guys so you don't have to see the same stuff over and over again. I think this will qualify. This will be another one of those videos that a certain percentage of the viewership just isn't going to get for whatever reason. There's a specific type of guy who gets mortally offended at the idea of putting any money, not his money mind you, into a guitar that he doesn't own, that he deems unworthy of repair. And they get really vocal about it. Why? I don't know. But I also see that there are guys in the comment section who will clap back against that, defend my honor as it were, and sort of stomp on those trolls. And I say, I see you and I appreciate you. I can't always do it myself. Anyway, this is an old guitar. It wasn't worth a whole lot at the time of its manufacture. Hasn't appreciated in value very much since then. And, well, it's got a number of things wrong with it. It's well loved by the owner. It's got sentimental value and a certain amount of musical value. They want it repaired, I'm going to fix it. Like I say, when I first saw it, I thought it was maybe an attempt at retro chic kind of stuff. But no, this is real deal. This is a Hamilton guitar. I have no idea who Hamilton was as a maker. Don't know where they were located. Despite the fact that I live in Hamilton, Ontario, I'm pretty sure this wasn't built here. In the time frame, I'm guessing probably the 1940s. The decorative sticker work here has this vaguely deco look to it. And it's also got this metallic thing going on that I know I've seen in mandolin banjos and ukulele banjos from the late 30s and 40s that I can identify. So I'm thinking it's probably from that era. Other things are just the frets. These are early frets. The glue work on the inside is all hide glue. And the braces are really nice Sitka spruce. They've got great braces in here. At some point the bridge had lifted and had been re-glued. I can see the outline here. It's got a belly on it, a relatively small belly, mimicking a Martin guitar. The other thing it's got is a through saddle, which I think most of these inexpensive manufacturers probably did away with by the 1950s. The whole box is made from rotary cut birch plywood, pretty thin. The neck on this is actually a really decent piece of maple. It's hard maple and it's perfectly flat sawn, just the way you'd find on a Fender neck. Fretboard is, I think it's also maple that's been dyed to look like ebony, but it is perfectly quarter sawn. I mean, it's good materials. The tuners feel and look pretty old. There's no decoration on the plate. All the screws on this guitar have slotted heads. The owner of this instrument plays Hawaiian slide guitar in the lap. They've actually furnished us with their favorite tuning here, which is nice because there's a lot of Hawaiian tunings. It's good to get the right one. It's a good thing it's a lap guitar because the action is just, why, it borders on the fantastical. You wouldn't want to play it in a standard configuration. I could of course lop this off, do the Kung Fu neck reset and drag that back a bit, but it's a slide guitar so we don't really have to. There are a number of things to do. There's a crack here that runs along the base side of the fingerboard. It seems to me like the core of this plywood is cut so that it follows the usual grain direction of a standard guitar top, which is kind of nice because it breaks like a regular top. Goes all the way through. There's just the one transverse brace here above the sound hole. You really do need something in this area of the upper bout to hold things together. You know, the Martin popsicle stick, they call it, that low, wide brace. So I'm going to put something in there to bolster this area and hold that repair together. It also needs a bridge patch or pad underneath the saddle area here. That'll flatten things out a bit. I might take this bridge off. Even though it's screwed down, it's not in danger of coming off, but the back end is pulled up quite a ways. So I might take that off. There are a few areas in the outline where the back has come unglued from the sides, so we'll take care of those. And there's an area in the lower bout here that has a crack that needs a couple of cleats. The other thing we're going to do is put on a new nut. This has got the original wooden nut at the standard height, so we're going to put on a nice tall one for slide playing. After that we can see what happens to the saddle. I don't think it'll change. With the action that we've got, I think that saddle's fine. So that's the order of operations. Let's get to it. One thing we're definitely going to do is remount these slots and make some string grooves. Shouldn't have to break your guitar to get the strings off. Investigating the interior, you can see there's a brace that runs along underneath the bridge, and there's one of the bolts that's securing it. I think I see two sets of bridge pin holes there. There's an old set that's kind of dark, that's right on the pad, and the current set is sort of half on, half off. It's towards the back there. Just move this bridge pin up and down so you can see it. So it looks like someone probably changed the bridge at some point, drilled new holes. I'll have to come up with some kind of pad that'll fit along behind this one and kind of shore up that area. See what we can do. The crack that runs along the side of the fingerboard there, underside looks pretty clean. And you can see there's that big open space that we're going to fill in with a supplemental brace. This crack has been open so long that even with pressure from the sides, I can't get it to fully close. But I do want to get some glue in there to get it to hold in position while I put the interior reinforcement in place. Got some cauls like this that go on the inside and outside to hold things in the right location so it'll end up being flat. Try to push some of the glue down in there. If I have to come back afterwards and put a little fill in, I can do that too. I'm not too concerned with this one cosmetically, but I want it to be structurally stable. Making sure I get some here on the end too. This is fish glue. Here's a little cleat to reinforce the area beyond the brace next to the sound hole. I'm planing some spruce for that reinforcing brace. Carving it to shape. Here's the transverse patch. See, it's kind of cut to gracefully mimic the lining. These bolts are actually mismatched in length, and you can see there's a bunch of what looks like graphite pencil around the outline of the bridge. Warming things up with my miniature heat blanket, I will slowly get the bridge removed from the top. It was tenacious glue, and it's one of those rare cases where more of the bridge came off than the top would. With the bridge removed, you can see the two sets of string holes here. The original ones, these ones seem to be slightly wider spacing. I bet you this was just a straight bridge to begin with, without the belly in it. Maybe it cracked and they decided to put a replacement on. I'm going to show you a shot of the inside, and that'll give you a bit of a clue as to what I'm thinking about. That's a little discouraging. Here's our new bridge plate. That's going to go in there. It's a piece of maple. I'm going to have to cut away a portion of that brace that runs along inside. I don't want to remove the whole thing. That seems unnecessary to me. And that'll provide more support fore and aft for the bridge. And also, you can see that when they drilled that second set of string holes there, it fractured that brace, and the portion that came off left a very irregular edge. So it's not like I could come along and slide something up there and have it do what it needs to do. It's got the ball ends of the strings resting against the underside of the top, and on this one all the way up against the bottom side of the bridge, which is really bad. So we need to do something. How am I going to do it? I'm going to double stick tape this to the bridge plate that's in there right now, or the brace. Come along with this. This is a little fragment of a Japanese saw. It's a piece of Dazuki. As they get worn or dull, usually the last inch and a half or so is still fine, the part that's up against the handle here. So I'll just cut these off, and they're perfect for this sort of thing. So with that in place, I can key off the side of it and cut through as far as I need to go. Then get in there with this. This is a small chisel I cut off for this kind of thing. Cut away the rest of it, and then a sanding block to get rid of the remainder. And I can put this in and glue it. Now this has slightly tapered sides to it, so it's like a wedge. It'll go right up against the cut ends of the brace and be really snug. And I can hear what you're saying. This is like an awful lot of work, Ted. Why would you do this? And, well, besides the obvious that it actually needs to be done, it's good practice. Like, I get emails every single day from someone asking me, how do I become a guitar repair person? Basically, how do I learn to be you? And there is no easy way to do that. You could watch all the videos, you can read all the books, but until you've actually had your hand inside a guitar cutting things away, you're just not going to gain the experience you need to do this. So it's like a skill you have to practice on. And this has got real world applications. Besides this guitar, imagine, on a Martin guitar where they've got the bridge plate, if it's broken and you got to get it out there, it's got the ends tucked up inside pockets, inside the X brace. How are you going to get that out? It's the same thing. Got to do it like this. And, if you do a number of them, you get comfortable. But if someone hands you their $8,000 or $9,000 Martin and tells you to take the bridge plate out, it's nice to have done that a number of times on some plywood top guitars. So, we're going to get it done. It's not going to take nearly as long as you might think. It's fiddly. Yes, it's going to bust up my knuckles a lot, but it's got to get done.
Sawing, sawing, sawing. Don't go too deep. With the bridge off, I can get enough heat through the top to soften the glue. Because of the closeness of the ladder bracing, there just wasn't enough room for me to maneuver my straight chisel, so I had to take out the old bridge plate removal tools here. I have a bunch of things that I've bent at weird angles. Hooray! It came apart in fragments, but that's good enough. I got the replacement glued in nice and tight. I cleaned up the old glue and pencil marks and then glued the bridge back on. Used those bolts as locating devices. There was a lot of glue around this old nut. A lot of stuff floating around inside the guitar right now, too. I made the new taller nut. You guys know how expensive the oversized Dobro nut blanks are? It's crazy. When you're drilling for bridge pin holes, remember to back up your work on the inside with a block of wood so that you're not going to mess up your nice new bridge plate. Here's the patch for the back. I eventually cut this into two pieces because there's a brace that bisects the crack. These things were so sharp. Quick little polish. I don't have to worry about leveling these. Nice. Here we have it, the new nut. That top crack has been taken care of. Things are a little more solid. And the bridge is sitting down flat on the top again.
Okay, got this thing tuned up in the tuning, which is E, A, E, A, C sharp, E, with an interesting collection of string gauges to go along with it.